To create this bag, I cut 2 pieces of quilter's cotton, one for the outside of the bag, one for the inside, and 2 pieces of interfacing to fit each piece of the fabric on the wrong side. And you can make it any size you wish, but I use 36.5 inch long times 11.5 inch wide for each piece, and then I ironed them to the wrong side of the fabric. Okay, I'm using double wide bias tape for the handle, and you know, it's just folded like this. That's how you buy it. And I'm just going to sew right along the open edge with my sewing machine, and I'm just using a very small stitch and just sewing it closed. So you're going to put the right sides of each piece of fabric, the lining and the outside fabric, and you're going to put them together. And before we sew them, we'll pin them. And about 9 inches from the top edge of the fabric, that'll be the flip over, we're going to pin the handle. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this, and about 9 inches from the top, we're going to pin it right on. And then we're going to do the same thing, making sure it's the same way. Okay. And this will be nine inches right there. Okay. And what we're going to do, we're going to keep this in the center and make sure we don't sew it, the inside of the handle, when we're doing this. And then we're going to leave a part of the top open so that we're going to be able to fold it. So I'm using different color pins to mark the opening, and then I'm just going to pin along all of the edges before I take it over to the sewing machine. Okay, now that the 2 sides are pinned all the way around, I'm taking it to the machine, and I'm just going to sew all the way around it. And I'm going to leave, I don't know, about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm leaving that open right there. And I'll put this here. Take out my pins as I go along. Go a little further. There. And I'm using my one of my favorite antique sewing machines. I love antique Singer sewing machines. And they don't have a bunch of different stitches, but they do the straight stitch exceptionally well. So I started out using them for my doll making, and here you saw I just sewed over the handle. The handle's right here, and I'm making sure that it's not going to be anywhere in the seam. And I'm just going to keep going all the way around until I'm done. But anyway, like I was saying, I started using the Singer sewing machine for my doll making, and one of the reasons was it made the most beautiful straight stitch, better than anything I've used before. And I believe a lot of quilters also like the antique machines for the same reason. It's just a beautiful stitch, and I think they're really pretty, and I love to look at them. I have you know, one of my prized possessions is a featherweight, so I have that. This is a very sturdy Singer cabinet model, and I actually figured out how to service it through YouTube and manuscripts, and I kind of put this one back together because it had been, my husband picked it up at a garage sale for me, and it had been sitting for a very long time, and it's actually, you know, works beautifully, like a dream. And it just seems to be quite the workhorse. And when they, you know, when it was originally put into the market in its day, it was a very expensive machine, and it was made as a high quality machine. And back then, you know, a lot of people did a lot more sewing than they do today. Although I think that's coming back. I think people are enjoying making things more than, you know, buying them. I think it's kind of a little revolt against the throwaway society. And there's a sense of pleasure and accomplishment when you're creating something lovely, especially if it's something you can use or give as a gift. So this bag, I'm making it as an art bag, and I'm making a couple of extra to give as gifts to a few of the other artists in my family. So, and as I go, I just kind of take out the pins and sew along. And here again, I'm sewing the handle. And you know, and this is a really easy project. So it's probably a good first sewing project, or one of your earlier sewing projects. There you go. And then what I'm going to do is just take this out, trim the threads. One of the best ways to get a lousy stitch is to get your threads all tangled up. So I do try to keep them out of the way. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pink all of the edges. And I'm not going to bore you with the whole process. So I'm going to turn off the camera for a few minutes and just pink away. So now that I've used my pinking shears to neaten the seams all the way around the edges, what I do is just have a chopstick here. And what I do is I'm just going to fold it right side out. This is the lining, and then this is the outside fabric. And by doing what we did before, you can see where the handle comes right out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this over to the iron, and this is where you're going to have the flap like that, and I'm going to iron it up so that this folds up to where the handles are. And I do use the chopstick if I need to neaten up some of the corners like this. I would basically go in and just push out the corners with the chopstick and do that at the bottom too. So I would kind of go all the way down and just kind of push out the corners. And now I'm just going to take it to my iron, and I will be right back. So I'm back, and what I did is I ironed around all of the seams, and I folded it up to the handle. And what I'm going to do is just kind of pin those seams, and I'm also going, pin it together, because that's, I'm going to be sewing it all together. And on each side. And the other thing is right here you have that opening, so I'm going to sew, I'm going to pin that and sew around that. I'm going to start out with one end, and I'm going to do it pretty close to the edge again. And then I'm just gonna, usually what I do at the end of the seam, since it's kind of a hassle with this machine to do reverse, so I just kind of tie a few knots at the end and then trim off. But if you have a more modern sewing machine, just doing a couple of reverse stitches will work. And there we go. Now you don't have to use the same exact measurements that I did for your bag. You can make a smaller bag if you wish, or a larger one. You can make it wider, you can make it shorter, pretty much whatever your heart desires. So like now, it's just, you know, you have your place where you can stick all your art supplies and just kind of flop it over. And there you have it. So, thank you for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy sewing your own little art journal bag. Talk to you soon. Bye.